Welcome back to the Dessert Show. I'm Debbie Fields, and didn't you love that jam tart? It is so good. And I'll tell you, you have to absolutely make these Currant jelly brownies. These are so good. They're moist, they're chocolatey, and they're so easy to make. First, because we're going to be using chocolate in this recipe, there's some things that we've discovered to make it a little bit easier for you. This recipe calls for some chopped chocolate. Now, there's several ways you can do it. You can do it the method, which is to take the chocolate, put it on your chopping board, then chop it up with the knife, but then that gets your hands dirty, the chopping board dirty, and your knife dirty. Or you can find that there's an easier way, and that's just to take your chocolate, put it in a plastic bag that's been sealed, take a hammer or a meat mallet, and then just chop it up. What's great is as you're doing this, this will keep it all intact, and it will allow you to move through the kitchen faster without less cleanup. Then, when you are storing your chocolate, something you've got to be very careful is that you don't store your chocolate without it being sealed properly, because what will happen is chocolate will absorb the flavors of your refrigerator. So if you're storing it in the refrigerator or in a pantry, if you're not careful and you store it near your onions or something, what you'll discover is that your chocolate will have a terrible, terrible flavor. And you want to always store it in an airtight container, and airtight always means those that go snap. So you want to get that seal. Additionally, should your chocolate ever turn white, have a funny color, that's not a problem. That's called bloom, and that just happens naturally if you don't keep chocolate at a perfect temperature. It happens in everyone's home. I think the only exception is when it's kept in perfect conditions, and that would be like in a candy store. So having it turn white does not mean that it is of inferior quality. It's still perfect. And I'm going to show you later how you can correct that problem. Then, last but not least, this particular recipe calls for placing wax paper in the bottom of a cake pan. And what we're going to do, and that's very, very easy, is go ahead and take a piece of wax paper, go ahead and then fold it in half, and then again, you're going to fold it in half. Then you're going to take it and fold it so that it's in a triangle and bringing that back over. Now, what we're trying to do is allow you the opportunity to have a perfect sized bottom. And what you do is you put it in the center, and at the very edge, going to the very edge right here, you want to cut. And this will give you a perfect circle. And it will keep, the purpose behind this is it will keep your cake or whatever you're creating, it will keep it from sticking. And this is really easy then to lift your cake out. Now, what you do is then you put that on the very bottom, and voila, we have a very easy way of doing this. Okay, now here's the ingredients that you're going to need for your Currant jelly brownies. Half a cup of butter, 2 ounces of bitter chocolate, 1 ounce of semi-sweet chocolate, 2/3 of a cup of flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of baking powder, 2 large eggs, 1 egg yolk, a half a cup of Currant jelly, and a half a cup of granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons of brandy, and 1 tablespoon of confectioner's sugar. Now, just in case you didn't get it all, then you don't have to worry, because at the end of the show, I will tell you how you can get all of these wonderful recipes, and believe me, you have to experience this recipe. It is so good. You'd think, jelly brownies? How odd. And I'll tell you something, the jelly really acts as it really creates a nice, moist, chewy brownie. And if you like moist, chewy, chocolatey brownies, this recipe is for you. Okay, let's begin. What we're going to do is I've got unsweetened chocolate as well as the semi-sweet chocolate and the butter, and I'm melting it in a double boiler. You may ask, why a double boiler? And the reason is chocolate burns so easily on a stovetop. So this is an extra precaution. Chocolate's expensive, butter's expensive. So having it on a double boiler allows us that special insurance of knowing that we will melt it slowly at an even temperature without burning chocolate. If you should burn chocolate, let me tell you what happens. The chocolate bottom, you'll actually see it'll begin to turn black. It'll have a terrible smell. Can you salvage it? And the answer is no. Because if you try to put burnt chocolate in your recipe, it will taste that way. So this is an extra precaution. What we're going to do is we're going to be melting it over a double boiler, and you're going to stir constantly. The most important thing is to stir constantly. That way you can be assured that you will not run into problems with burning your chocolate. Now that the chocolate gets nice and smooth and kind of creamy in texture, then you want to move on and begin to make the recipe. I'm going to move it off from the heat so that it doesn't continue to cook. Now, we're going to start first with the sugar, and we're going to then add our egg yolk, and then the eggs. And we're going to blend these up together using a wire whisk. And then we're going to add the currant jelly and continue to mix using the wire whisk. Now, just as a special precaution, something that I like to do is I like to add my dry ingredients and make sure that everything's fully incorporated so that I don't have any particular areas of my batter that has a little too much salt. So what I do is I take the flour and I take the baking powder and of course the salt, and I use a wire whisk and I make sure that these are all fully incorporated first before I put them into the bowl. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the dry ingredients and continue to blend. And you want to make sure that this is not over mixed, because this is just such an easy recipe to whip up. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take the chocolate and the butter and the unsweetened chocolate, and we're going to be adding this into the batter. Now you want to make sure that this is nice and cool when you go ahead and put it in, that it's had a chance to actually cool. Okay, we're going to place that in. And then we're going to mix it up. Now, I am saving the flavoring ingredient I'm using today is brandy. Now, if you don't want to use brandy, you can use vanilla. There's also an imitation brandy that has absolutely no alcohol that you can also use. So the flavoring is really up to you. And it will make no difference in terms of how this recipe tastes. This really is a phenomenal brownie recipe. Now, I'm adding the flavoring, and keep in mind that it's important to add your flavorings because vanilla also has, it's in alcohol. So when you put vanilla in something that's hot, what you'll discover is it will evaporate. Okay, we're going to pour it into our prepared cake pan, and we're going to bake it at 350 degrees for approximately 25 to 30 minutes. And you'll know when it's done because you're going to take your toothpick and it'll come out clean. And let me show you what it's going to look like when it's done. This is what it looks like. And you know, as you can see, we've done some decorations, and you can do those decorations at home as well. You can simply take a special doily and go ahead and put the powdered sugar on top, and you'll be able to make those magnificent designs that all of those wonderful restaurants serve. It's just fun, and it's easy to do. Now, come right back. I've got a great recipe for you.
Attention cookbook lovers. The International Association of Culinary Professionals and Thermador invite you to participate in the Julia Child Cookbook Awards. Vote for your favorite cookbooks in the Cook's Choice Award contest and be eligible to win a first prize trip for two to fabulous San Francisco for 4 days and 3 nights, airfare and overnight accommodations included, plus the award-winning IACP Cookbook Collection. 3 second prize winners will receive the International Association of Culinary Professionals Cookbook Collection as well. Pick up a ballot today at your local bookstore or send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Cook's Choice Award, IACP Headquarters, 304 West Liberty Street, Louisville, Kentucky, 40202. Act quickly. All ballots. See you by the bay.
Every few years, you're in the same tough spot. You've got to paint. again. But first, you've got to scrape. Your extension ladder weaves and wobbles, and the eaves and overhangs are still ahead. Then you see your neighbor casually redoing his entire exterior with a garden hose. Why is it so easy for him and so hard for you? Your neighbor had vinyl siding from Sears installed on his house, and so can you. Call this toll-free number right now and take advantage of this special offer. Siding from Sears transforms all kinds of homes beautifully. Wood, stucco, brick homes. And look what vinyl coverings do for eaves. So call now, right this minute. And before you know it, you'll see your home from a completely new perspective.
Call 1-800-821-4466 to arrange for your free in-home inspection and estimate on Sears premium vinyl siding. We proudly accept the following credit cards and offer convenient financing, so call now.